I'm Richard Friedman, and welcome to my video cartoon for June 27th, 2026. Good to see you, folks. Here tonight, I have my latest video cartoon, which is titled Richard Lincoln Gives His Memorial Reflecting Pool Address Amid His Eyes Turning Bright Green. So this is what Lincoln's, from all the reflection of the pool, Lincoln's eyes turn green. You see here? There's Lincoln with green eyes from the reflection of the pool. There it is. And turning bright green, reminiscent of his 1863 Gettysburg address that looked back 87 years to 1776, when he said 87 years ago, when the Declaration of Independence gave birth to our nation. Okay? So that the premise there was that all men are created equal, and I had him doing that in what I invented here, a little adaptation to that speech back then. Okay? So here we go at it. And here is former President Abraham Lincoln here at the Lincoln Memorial. There's the pool, you see, and he's been taking all this reflection in, and it's turned, as I said before, it's turned his eyes bright green as the pool. So he's a little bit peeved at that, and he's going to stick to his theme that we just talked about. And here it goes. Here goes Lincoln. In my invention here. 54 years ago, that's when the building was built. 104 years ago was when the memorial was put up. This memorial was constructed 104 years ago. So 54 years ago, this Lincoln Memorial was brought forth. Now we are engaged in a vandal battle for a blue pool that has turned its water more bright green than ever. Because this green, reflecting pool has even turned my gray eyes bright green, I am taking the next train back to Illinois. So he's packing his bags, and he's abandoning the memorial there, his memorial. He's going back to Illinois, taking the next train back to Illinois. See? There he is. Okay? Wants to get back his gray eyes. He don't like that green eye. His green eyes, the way they reacted from that reflection of the pool. So he's going back to Illinois on the next train. Okay? But there will be a new birth of freedom, and this nation, under God, shall have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Even if Trump replaces me with the Mongols' leader Genghis Khan, who would guard this pool with his armies from further fertilizer attacks. So President Trump he's made the accusation that somebody poured fertilizer into the pool, and that caused the algae to grow, turning the pool green. And on top of that, you had more vandals coming around and cutting through the blue paint on the bottom there, and they just went a 250-foot gash right through it, and that's why you had a lot of that kind of like flakes of blue paint floating on top of the pool. You had those blue flakes floating because of those vandals who they must have had scuba diving equipment to get down there so long to cut from 250 feet. They probably something like a Dustin Hoffman in The Graduate. You know, they had the tanks and everything, and they got in that pool and they just ripped that thing down, ripped it across from one end to the other. Okay, so that's the effects of that pool, the blue and all that business, the blue paint and that blue bottom. A lot of that stuff peeled and went to the surface. And so you had a combination of algae blooms and peeled paint. And it turned bright green, the pool, from all that algae that was nourished by those people who threw in that fertilizer. So there you have it there, okay? And that was Abraham Lincoln, and that was Richard Lincoln gives his memorial reflecting pool address amid his eyes turning bright green. And there he is, packing his bags, going back to Illinois. And there he is. Here's the pool, the trees and everything, and here are the algae blooms over here from all that growth. There are the algae blooms. There are the trees. Trees stayed green all right, no problem with the trees. And here's the pool that was supposed to be blue for the 250th anniversary, celebrate 4th of July anniversary, and it was bright green here, and there it was. Okay, there you get a full backdrop here. Okay, there it is. There it was. Okay, now we go on to President Trump's post on Truth Social, and this is what his exact words that President Trump wrote. Here is this here. This is his post on Truth Social. Okay, and I'm going to read that to you. 6 people have been arrested, and 7 people. It's gone up a little bit since then. I think it was about 10, 11 now. 6 people have been arrested, and 7 people have been cited for the damage they did to our country's now beautiful reflecting pool. The 350-foot gash made by a very sharp knife or razors, he said 250, 350, something in that neighborhood, is actually numerous slashes. He always said, here it's 350, because that's what he wrote, word for word, number for number. So he wrote this, 350-foot gash made by a very sharp knife or razors, is actually numerous slashes over a very long 350-foot length. It was purposely and criminally done, and somebody had to work probably in the dark of night, to create such a condition. Likewise, the small area at the bottom of the pool was cut and powerfully lifted off the surface, leaving very jagged, uneven edges. All right, now, again, I haven't been to the pool. I haven't been to Washington, D.C. in a long time, so I'm not familiar. I've seen it up close and seeing what was going on, but I heard some people just this evening saying that what was cut wasn't that green paint. Something else was cut, and it had nothing to do with the green paint. So that you take that for what it's worth. But it's your choice. I just give you the facts, everything I absorb and hear, and I just shove it out to you with a little humor, and you decide. Like I always say, you decide. But I just heard that on television, that what was cut had nothing to do, basically, with that green bottom paint job. The blue paint job, American blue paint job, and that was untouched by whatever damage was done to the bottom of the pool. That's what they said. I don't know, and I'm telling you to take it as you see it, okay, as you hear it, okay? It was purposely and criminally done, and somebody had to work, probably in the dark, repeating myself, dark of night, to create such a condition. Likewise, the small area at the bottom of the pool was cut and powerfully lifted off the surface, leaving very jagged, uneven edges. Okay, jagged, uneven edges doesn't say where the jagged and uneven edges were, but he said, okay, the large areas of grass are being replaced. In any event, even prior to fixing those areas, the reflecting pool is as beautiful as it can be. We will drain some of the water either immediately before or after the 4th of July to do the permanent repair. President Donald J. Trump, June 23rd, 2026, 4:56 p.m. And there it was, word for word, and that's President Trump on Truth Social. Okay, now here President Trump, gets the last word here. President Trump gets the last word. And this is basically what President Trump said about the pool before the algae turned it bright green and before the peeled off bottom of the pool, some parts of its surface to the top. Okay, this is before then. Okay, BA, before algae. Okay, BA. Trump BA, before algae in the pool. Okay, now here, I'm going to read that to you. Here's President Donald J. Trump here. He's getting the last word here, and he's saying about the pool. You'll never have a leak. It's very strong. You couldn't if you had a knife. If you had a knife, you can't even cut it. So he was saying before, you couldn't even cut it with, if you had a knife, you had a knife, you couldn't do it. It's so strong, so powerful, it's like powerful rubber. Okay, so that is President Trump's own words, calling it powerful rubber, that you couldn't cut it with a knife. So if you question that, I'll probably say, well, maybe it was very powerful Swiss Army knife, a Swiss Army knife, or something like that, or something. President Trump would have an answer. But I'm just giving you the facts here, and there was President Trump ahead of BA before algae. Okay, and there it was. All right, folks, thank you for watching my video. God bless you. Hang in there, and I'll see you next time. Hang in there through these tough times, and I'll say it again. God bless you. Bye.